Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Carla Sarron. I'm the project assistant of the WiSE program. Before introducing this session, I would like to do the acknowledgement of country. Western Sydney University would like to acknowledge the Darug people who are the traditional custodians of the land that we are on today. We acknowledge and pay respects to elders, past and present, who has given us time, knowledge, and guidance. We appreciate the rich contribution and resilience that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people provide to Western Sydney University. Today, we're presenting a new edition of the WiSE Talk series. This is a new WiSE program initiative connecting students in the program virtually with professional women working in the STEM industry. Now, my colleague Perrine will introduce our today's speaker.
So hi everyone, my name is Perrine El-Bustani and I'm the Project Support Officer of the WiSE program. It's my pleasure today to introduce to you Pham. Pham is an alumni of our university. She graduated with a Bachelor of Engineering and majored in Civil Engineering. So she was also part of the WiSE program. She joined in 2016, did a few activities and was also mentored by one of our industry professionals. At the moment, T is working with CPB Contractors as a site engineer on the Parramatta Light Rail project. She did start her career in 2016, doing a number of different roles previous to that. So thank you, T, for joining us today. It's a pleasure to have you on board and we look forward to hearing more about your career journey.
So like Perrine said, yes, I am a Western Sydney University alumni and I say it very loud and proud. There's a lot of, in the field that I work, there's a lot of people that don't actually graduate from Sydney University, or they're all from, the elite or the other universities. I'm definitely a strong advocate and try to give back as much as I can to the university. So I finished high school in 2011 and went straight into the engineering degree in 2012. Considering it is a 4-year degree, I did take 5 years to finish it, and not because of any particular reason. I was really lazy in my first year, and I can ultimately say that I did fail 6 subjects in my first year and a half, and for a very long time that was something that I was struggling with for myself. I thought that career-wise it did set me back, or all these things behind me, but to be honest it didn't. If anything, it really showed me that, hey, I can actually do it. And if you fail a subject, it's not the end of the world. It's a learning curve, and I got over it. And at the end of the day, when people say that your GPA matters and you need to have like a 4.0, 6.0 GPA to get into a good company and work for an amazing firm, it's a lie. It's good grades is great, don't get me wrong, but it's not everything. And I encourage everyone to apply for big national jobs and big corporate companies as well, because they take a lot of other things into consideration. Also, if you guys have any questions in between, please don't hesitate to kind of stop me, because I'm happy to answer as well. So I guess employee experience, yes, that's me. I did start fresh as a grad on the Sydney Metro Northwest. That was a real groundbreaking moment, and it's pretty funny how I got the job, because I applied for so many undergraduate jobs and I didn't really get a call back. But the likes of WiSE and the industrial experience subject in the engineering course, they put out a flyer to say, hey, we're targeting female undergrads. We encourage everyone to apply. And luckily enough, there was an email left behind and also a phone number. So I applied, didn't hear anything for about 3 weeks. So I called that phone number for like a whole week straight, like 3 times every single day until I got a response. Was lucky enough to get to advance into an interview. Unfortunately, they were looking for a full-time person at the time. So I had to say, look, I'm going to prioritize my studies. I can't commit to it. Once I graduated, a couple months later, I got the phone call from the same HR lady, said, hey, you still looking for a job? We really liked your interview. So that was a very smooth transition and very, very lucky. But I also think that, people skills and really helped me there. I then progressed on to Canberra Light Rail, which was only for a hot minute, so about 4 months down there. That was very interesting. It gave me another light into a different field, even though it is still rail. It is definitely very different to what we deal with if you guys use the Sydney Trains network. Definitely made me appreciate other disciplines as much as I was very hard-headed and I said, no, this is what I like, this is what I want to do. Going to Canberra really opened my eyes and made me appreciate other disciplines and not be so stubborn. So the next few photos here is pretty much my personal experience on all the 3 projects, and I got to see different phases of the project, which was really great. So I got to see from design, construction to close out, testing, commissioning, and to client handover, which regardless of what field you are in, you're probably going to experience this no matter which industry you're in. So just a couple of pictures. These are really like pro shots. I didn't take them. So being part of a very iconic project was, I'm going to say, groundbreaking, because there's not many other, I guess in a lifetime, there's not many major projects that you're going to be involved in. It's probably once in every 50 to 100 years. So to be a part of Australia's first metro system was amazing, not just to be building any sort of building or superstructure bridge. I actually got to, firsthand deal with the track component. And it was long hours, but this was the reward. We got to sit very high on a crane one day and took this photo there. And there's heaps of everything you learn at uni. I definitely use that to my advantage. Starting out at work, I was really nervous. One being, a female, a grad, the expectation of what an engineer is supposed to be, but that's all in my head. Like, I can say honestly, that is all in my head, because they teach you everything. They don't expect you to know everything. They expect you to be willing to learn and try to understand the foundation. And I'll show you this quick video of a cool contraption that our project ended up making and designing. Oh. So that was really loud. So basically, it's a mobile formwork. So instead of stripping it and relocating it every time, all we did was add some wheels onto it and detach it, and it just rolls. So it saved us a lot of time and a lot of money, and we did get a big reward out of it. So, we get to play around with all these things as well. And, the boys, funnily enough, tried to ride it. I would not recommend doing that. So again, these are all just photos on the job there, and you get to interface with a lot of disciplines, you get to interface with a lot of people. So I am going to emphasize that people skills, communication skills are key, regardless of what role you're in, whether you're office-based, design-based, out on site. It is very, very important to be outspoken and to be concise and clear, and also just to build relationships, because if it wasn't for myself and the likes of the ladies at WiSE, I probably wouldn't be here. I tried to maintain that line of communication as well. You also get to play with pretty cool machines. I don't know about you, I had no appreciation for machines or big boy toys for a very long time until I got to see how big they were and how cool they were. So that was pretty cool, and you get to see what it's all about. You see a 5-year-old kid playing with toys like this, and you don't get it. I get it now, because it is pretty fun. So it is very interesting to see, especially seeing the guys on the ground do their work every single day. Makes you appreciate how smart and how much you can actually learn from them. I'm not going to say I was one of them, but I do know that the stigma around, tradies or someone that doesn't hold, some sort of degree, they do often get overlooked. But I can honestly say that I've learned everything that I've learned in my industry because of the guys on the ground. They've taught me everything, and even though they didn't have a degree, that doesn't matter because they're doing it day in, day out, and they know it. And they are pretty tough, don't get me wrong, but if you form the relationship there, they will, they'll take the time out of your day to teach you things. So some cool machines. That is me. We did a little photo shoot maybe 2 years ago now. There is a video. I'm sure Perrine could forward it on to everyone, and you guys get to see a bit of behind the scenes of a day in my life when I was in Sydney Metro. So that was pretty cool as well. And everything that you do is quite rewarding. So I know to you guys this might just be a little bit of rail or a little bit of metal on some rocks essentially, but this took me maybe like a good 5 days, 24 hours to finish and to build. And this is my favorite photo of the entire project. So a few more things. Campbell Light Rail, I guess, like I said before, I learned a lot of different disciplines. There's a lot of things I never knew about or I never appreciated, that if I had looked back 6 months prior, I would have said, nah, that job's stupid, that's shit, sorry, my language. I wouldn't want to do it, but I think my managers must have seen something in me to push me to go there outside of my comfort zone. And I learned things I never thought I'd ever appreciate. And I actually want to do a bit of a career path change because of this job. Not only do I want to do infrastructure, I want to learn about systems and the electrical side of things, which isn't what I studied, because I studied civil engineering. Paramount Light Rail has been a really challenging job. There's different life cycles on the job here, going from design phase all the way to construction phase. The last 12 months has been predominantly, project startup. A lot of challenges in, people you never worked with, starting a new role, the expectation that managers have of you as well. So I was fully pushed out of my comfort zone, doing stuff I've never learned before. And on top of that, without a manager, which was really tough. So, we learned a lot of things. Even though I struggled, it's sink or swim, pushed me out of my comfort zone. But if anything, it's now proved to my managers and my senior teams that, we can do anything. So Paramount Light Rail is going to be a very fun job. We're not going to repeat Sydney Light Rail, I promise you, because I am on this job. So we've actually done a couple of trials, played with some concrete, done a whole bunch of things that again is out of my comfort zone that I've never done before. This picture here is what you think you're going to see, but the next photo is actually what you actually see. So just a bit of context behind this photo. There's only about 4 guys working. Everyone else standing around are just nosy. And this is the challenge that we have to face every day, where communication is key. Yes, it's frustrating for, the guys working on the ground and even my team to actually get this job done. But, we need to accommodate for, you've got the council coming out, you've got third parties, you've got the client coming out, and communication skills are key to making sure that the client's happy. So I thought that was pretty funny, because we sent this photo project-wide and everyone had a big giggle, because it's a very, you've got 4 people working and about 30 people watching you.
That's so interesting to hear, because I see this happen on like roadworks as well, and I often wonder why is there only a few people working and the rest are just watching? So that makes sense.
Right. There's a big meme about it, who's the project manager, who's the supervisor, who's actually working. There's always about 1 guy working and about 30 people supervising them.
That's hilarious.
But look, the end result is pretty rewarding. So this is a bit of track that we built as a demonstration track here. So it is, to you guys, it might just be a patch of grass or a bit of concrete, but this is what you're eventually going to see during Parramatta. And I know Western Sydney University and Parramatta City campus will feel the full force of this and hopefully you guys get to use this later on as well. I guess I want to go into a bit more STEM related, and I guess being in a male dominant industry. I think there's a big stigma around females being a bit worried entering the workforce in a male dominant industry. So I just want to point out that is me amongst like 40 guys. What's really funny is this was taken when I was a fresh grad, so I would have been, what, 23, 24 years old. I was the baby of the family, because I'm going to call them a family because they treated me like their baby sister. I personally, from my personal experience, I don't believe there is challenges being in a male dominant industry. I think regardless of the person that you are, if you're good at your job and you do what you say you're going to do, you will be respected for it. I know there is a big, I'm going to call it a wave where, you know, females in non-traditional roles are being put up in the spotlight, you know, and it is a good thing. It is a very good thing. And I personally have rode that wave and I've used that to my advantage. And, you know, everyone's there to support you. There's no one there that's going to ever bring you down unless they're just a shit person. Like, that's the only excuse. If anyone in the industry is ever going to put you down, they're either jealous of you or they're threatened by you. That, to me, that's just simple facts. But like I said, these guys hands down have taught me everything that I've known. I've been nothing but try to be helpful and try to absorb all the information that they give me. And it has paid off because they then themselves put me on like this pedestal and say, they say really wonderful things about me. And whether or not it's because I'm a female, I do believe it's because I am good at what I do. And I think everyone should, you know, all females should take a step back and not be so hard on themselves and just appreciate the praise and the appreciation that you receive from other people. Because I know for one that I take criticism quite personally. I think we're always our harshest critic. And, you know, I definitely walked into the industry being really nervous, saying, oh my gosh, like, I'm not too sure if I'm ready for this. What happens if someone's a bully or they put you down? And you know what? 9 out of 10 people in the industry are there to support you. There's always going to be that 1%, whether they're male or female. There is going to be that 1%, and you just have to fight through it and be the bigger person, because everyone is there to support you. So in addition to that, I do get unconditional support and mentoring, you know, in uni and outside of uni. Like I said, I was very lucky to join a lot of, should rephrase that. I wasn't as smart in my first, say, 4 years of uni. It wasn't until my last year of uni I actually got involved in other uni programs. So WiSE was the first one, and I'd started doing a bit more other things with my thesis supervisor. So anyone that studies engineering, there is a lady or a supervisor called Olivia Mirza. So she does you know, very targeted engineering programs as well, which is what I was a part of. So I do highly recommend, you know, anyone, male or female, it's there for everyone as well. But I'm very lucky. I do get unconditional support and mentoring from, you know, all walks of life, young, old, male, female. So there's a couple of photos here. So the lady on the left, she's like my second mum. She's babied me on this project. She's been there through it all. You know, she's got 30 years plus experience, and she's the real tough woman in the industry, because when she started back in the 70s, she was like the only female, and I can't imagine the type of tough skin she's got now because of that. And, you know, she gives me tough love, knowing that I could take it. The guy there, he was my superintendent. So he was my site mentor. We're like two peas in a pod. His kids, he's got 3 young kids, and, you know, I babysat for them. And even though I've left the project, he's resigned from the company, we do still keep in touch. So it is, like I said, it is important to keep the line of communication open, because everyone's there to support you. I do go to a lot of networking events. So these are some of the site guys I've met. I actually don't even work directly with them. I've been to that many work events where hey, they've just become somewhat friends, even though we never worked directly with them. So, like I said, young, old, you know, so many different types of walks, so many different walks of life you get to meet as well. There's my old team. These are all site guys as well. These are all like the labourers and the tradies that you learn off. None of them are actually professionals, you know. And this year, we, collectively as a team, we applied for a couple of awards. Luckily enough, we won. So me being very modest, holding the award, my manager, after about 5 drinks, is kissing this thing. He puts this up like on the wall and makes sure that everyone sees, look what we've done. This is our team. So the dynamic is very, very good. And then again, I am speaking from personal experience. I do believe that, you know, everyone's there to support you. Same thing, I think once you leave university and enter the workforce and work in the industry, I do highly recommend to get involved into a lot of industry events, industry, what are they called? Programs. I'm fortunate enough to be a part of a few rail specific ones because it's such a niche market. I was very nervous going to my first event by myself as a 24-year-old grad, you know, with no support. I've realized the next year after that because the market's so niche, you meet the same, you know, 300 people every single time. And I'm sure, you know, you guys being a part of WiSE feel the same thing. The first 3 may be a bit daunting. It's a bit nerve-wracking because you don't really know too many people. But after a couple of times, you do get comfortable. I'm very lucky to go to quite a bit of events, fancy, not fancy. Christmas is the best time. I don't know how we're going to do it this year because of COVID, but I do honestly spend most of November and December at events. I think that's the prime of my life, partying at a work event instead of going out with my friends now. Again, a lot of booze. I think there's a cup there. So a lot of guys at work often tell me, am I an engineer or a dog whisperer? Because I never shut up about dogs. I've got 3 of my own, and every time someone brings, every Friday, every couple of Fridays or so, someone will bring a dog into the office, and it is a good icebreaker from talking about work and, you know, your personal life. There is a line in the sand somewhere where, you know, you talk about work things, but you also should have a good break with the guys that you work with, because at the end of the day, they're like your second family. You spend more time with them at work than you do with your own family. So we always try to organize, you know, events. But the big one for me is every time someone brings a dog, I'm the first to be like, can I dog sit and take them to site? My superintendent doesn't like it when I bring a dog. So hands-on experience, personally for me, I think studying engineering has given me the foundation and the fundamentals of understanding concepts and designs. For me personally, I'm probably not as design smart, I guess. I'm not big in design. I feel like I'm definitely more hands-on and I want to see stuff being built. So as an engineer, I definitely recommend get on the tools, you know, really understand what the laborers are doing, you know, how hard they work for you to make sure that the job gets done. Because if they get their job done, they make you look good. If you make, you know, the manager looks good, and it's just a massive food chain. So I've been really, really lucky to be able to experience that. I was lucky enough to drive certain machineries on a couple of jobs and get certified and get, you know, licenses and tickets here. The photo of me in the middle is my supervisor tricking me into installing something, and then I got stuck. So I had to unbolt everything to get out. That was the worst. I was stuck there for a good 20 minutes. And it was raining. The other one on the left is the importance of surveying. Guys, anyone that studies engineering, please pay attention in survey. No one told me how important survey was in the real world. And also you need height to be a surveyor. Can you see I'm standing on a box? I'm about 1.5 meters. It is not fun, you know, seeing the world at my level. So the boys do like to make fun of me standing on boxes there. I guess how I feel about engineering is the people that I get to work with and the hands-on experience that I get is what I cherish and what I'm always going to take on with me to every single project. Yes, there's going to be days where it's not the best, you know, you have a bad day, or, you know, someone's behind on a deadline, you know, you're behind on homework, you didn't do well in a test, stuff like that. They're not the things you're going to remember, because these experiences that you get is what you're going to take on with you. I can say for one that, yes, I failed 6 subjects at uni, but that's not what I remember from uni. What I remember from uni is, you know, I did spend my last 2 years focusing on the end goal, and I put myself out there, and, you know, I met people in WiSE and in other networking groups, and I got to experience that at a fundamental, amazing level. Like Perrin and the previous organizer, I got pretty involved in my last year where I got paired with a mentor. He pushed me out of my comfort zone. Personal skills, people skills, communication skills wise, I was then, you know, invited on behalf of WiSE to go to Orange and then speak to, you know, younger students, stuff like that. And that made me really appreciate what I did while I was at uni. And I wish when I was, you know, in your position, I had someone that's close in age, maybe close in the same experience, to come and talk to me, because I think WiSE didn't start until 2015 or 2016.
2015 we started.
2015, yeah. So I probably didn't join until 2016. Yeah, I didn't join until 2016.
Yeah, that's right.
So I was already in my last year of uni. So I'm not going to say it wasn't like it was late or anything, but I do feel like if I had started a bit earlier, I may have progressed my career a bit differently. I may be a bit more successful than where I am now. So it's really great to see, you know, first, second, third year students and fourth year students getting involved, because I wish I had the same. And when we got to go to Orange to talk to high school students that were, you know, targeted from year 9 to year 12, I thought that was the most amazing experience, because if I had had that experience, I would have chosen certain things differently or tried different things, and understand what I wanted. Luckily enough for me, I did kind of know which direction I wanted to go in about year 10 or year 11. But that was solely because I had advice from teachers. Excuse me. Rail more specific things. Everyone likes to say that rail is a very male-dominant industry, and I definitely agree. 99% of people that work in the rail industry are men. And they're also about 40 years old plus. Like, it's a very old school, old white male industry. And I am the complete opposite of that. So like I said, I feel like I learned everything from the guys on the ground, and they teach you everything. And getting hands-on experience, pushing yourself to do something that's out of the norm. 1, the guys will appreciate it. 2, you'll learn a lot more. And 3, you'll really appreciate how hard they work, because it is not easy. I would not want to be in their position on a 40-degree hot day doing that. I'm very lucky that I get the option to go back to the office. So that's there. What else is there? I think I'm probably going to more talk about CPB as a whole, because that's my parent company. So I'm not too sure if any of you guys know CPB Contractors is one of the top, well, actually it's one of the largest construction companies in Australia, if not the largest. I mean, we build heaps of the infrastructure projects, so there is a big inclusive workplace culture in the company, you know, from different backgrounds, you know, your sexual orientation, your gender, and, you know, disability, and there's heaps of things that we do for it. You know, graduate programs are one other things. These are probably some of the programs that we try to be a part of. So I've definitely pushed for WiSE program to be on there because I'm part of the gender equality panel for the project, for the company. Same with Indigenous participation. So graduate programs is a big thing. I feel like I was very, very lucky in a sense where I studied a specific thing during my thesis. I studied a railway bridges as my thesis, and walking out of uni, the job that I ended up getting was a railway bridge. So I was very lucky, but for those that are still unsure of where they want to go or what they want to do, graduate programs will will help you find what you want to do. And also by networking and talking to people, you try and grasp the concept and understand where you want to go and what you want to do. It is really important that you do what you love. I say this with a grain of salt, I guess. I'm not going to lie and sugarcoat it and say that I work a nice 8 hours and I get to go home. It is long hours. You know, you work in excess, 10 to 12 hours every single day, 5, 6, 7 days a week, depending on what's required. But I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't love it. So I do highly recommend that anyone that decides to go in this path, make sure you love it. And if you don't love it, it's okay. There's plenty of time for us to do stuff. I'm looking to go back to uni. I never thought I'd ever say those words about going back to uni, but I am looking about doing a master's, whether it's in engineering again or in like project management.
Maybe we can see if any students have any questions.
Yes, open a question.
I've got so much points of view that I'm more confident now, because like you, it's architecture is also like more male dominant, I guess. Like there's so much, like when you study it's 50-50, like females, males, but when you actually go in the workforce it's so much more males. So like some of the points that you said about, like, I guess when you're confident in yourself you can achieve so much, and I need to work on that. And because like I'm doing my first year masters and I have 1 more year left and I have no experience, you need 2 years experience to be certified. So I'm trying to get as much in, but like that's not working for me right now. But yeah, I honestly, just a lot of the points you said just made me more confident in myself, I guess, which is really good, because I feel like a confident female can achieve so much. So thank you for that.
Yes. No, thanks, Sarah. But no, I definitely agree. I believe confidence is key. And we're women. I feel like women are always going to be bossy. They're going to know their stuff. Like, I would not ever doubt anything that you've learned or what you don't know. If you're going to say something, say it with confidence, whether you're wrong or not. If you project your confidence, people will take you seriously and they'll forgive you if it's wrong. At least they'll be like, well, at least you made a decision and you were confident with it. And I did it because of, your confidence. And if it turns out to be, I'm not going to say the word wrong, but if it turns out not to be the best solution, they at least know that you made that decision and you were comfortable, you're confident with the right reasons. But in regards to work, I feel like that's always going to be a big topic coming out of university. With experience, like that was definitely a thing for me. I did not look into work experience until I had to, until I had 7 months of my degree left and I couldn't graduate without it. In all honesty, a lot of people, I'm going to say men, a lot of guys that I worked with are very picky, where they're like, no, I need to be working for the best company ever and that's what I want. It's more for guys, not for girls, about getting off their ego and really look at something that's more realistic. But I panicked. I attended a lot of networking events, like a lot. And I used that to my advantage to meet people and to upskill and to fix my resume. And I feel like the power of social media is so crazy, like, especially in the generation that we are now. Like, we use social media as a buying power. The power of LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, people are building career platforms on this thing and making so much money. And I would highly recommend everyone jumping onto LinkedIn, because I didn't think so much of it when I started work, but it is very, very important to have a social presence and being active on it. I did spend a bit of time revamping my LinkedIn to make sure that it suited what I wanted. The more people I started to connect to, and the more pages that I followed and I liked, tailored to my industry, it actually, I got job ads. You were able to see job ads that you wouldn't be able to see on like Seek or Indeed and stuff like that, because it's such a niche market. So I do highly recommend everyone working on their LinkedIn profile, and being comfortable to connect with people online that have the same goals and the same values as you, because everyone's pretty friendly. Everyone's always there to kind of help you start in this industry as well. So that would probably be my main advice. But I think networking is the biggest thing on face-to-face events like this and social media.
Yeah, just a quick question about the graduate programs, because they're really competitive, right? A lot of people like apply, and obviously they select very few, and with a lot of hundreds and hundreds of applications. So what's your tips for successful online application, and then you have to do the video interview and all that? So like, what's your successful tips? Like, how do you make a good resume and a good cover letter? Like,
cover letter, I'm probably not a big fan of cover letters, to be honest.
I know, it's just
I feel like nowadays, even when I finished university, cover letters wasn't as important, to be honest with you, because you send their resume and you're filling out as much documents anyway. And for me, at the end of my resume, I'd actually put my LinkedIn account so I can actually find everything. And it then sparks, you can then see, has a recruiter looked at you? And secondly, it's more interactive for them to find you on LinkedIn. Right. But then again, it does depend on companies about cover letters.
Yeah, exactly.
Successful cover letters for me is probably getting straight to the point. You don't want sections of too much text.
Yeah.
And graduate programs, I know they feel like a Hunger Games situation.
Yeah,
it's just
like, how do you just land that spot? Like, it's just you're trying and
there's two ways for me to answer this. I personally didn't go through the graduate program.
Okay.
I was employed separately, but I think a very important part is trying to get pre-employment prior to the grad program, because that is such an easy pathway.
Yeah, it is.
Because a lot of times when you interview for an undergrad position, it is very informal. It is very like me and you having a simple conversation, and we're on the same page. We're connecting. We're on the same. We've got a synchronization. We get along, and that's honestly like a straight pathway into like the grad program.
Yeah.
The second thing for a grad program is not my personal experience, but I've got friends that did like Transport for New South Wales and stuff like that. They're not the brightest. I'm saying this with love.
Yeah.
They're probably the same as me. They didn't have like an amazing 4.0 GPA, or it's just your standard average. You got passes and a few credits during uni. But he killed the video
interview.
The video interview, and I say this with love.
Yeah.
I believe I've got really good personal skills, but I couldn't have done what he had done like on the video, because it is very daunting, because you're talking to a camera.
It is, especially if I've never had the experience before, and it's just scary. It is,
But it's really silly. He told me a week before his video interview, he got dressed up, stood in front of a mirror, and talked to himself for about 10 minutes, and he would ask different people to ask him a question, and then he just constantly practiced interviewing. But that was more on, I guess, his personal skills.
Right.
In all honesty, I probably don't have the best advice there, because I feel like I personally didn't go through that. So I do know it is very, very hard.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But I would try and say my pathway would be
just do networking.
Apply for everything.
Exactly.
Don't limit yourself to just a grad program, because there's so many pathways to get into where you want to be. You know, whether it's a major infrastructure project or, you know, a big firm, there's so many pathways to get through it. But yes, networking is always key.
Yeah.
I've said this so many times. And to build confidence and to make sure that you're comfortable talking and presenting yourself.
There are some student discounts for joining professional associations. So if you have a look online and search for an association that's of your interest, you can have a look and see their student discounts as well to join. And they do often send out resources and up-to-date information and news about the industry. So it's another way of keeping up with what's happening. And sometimes, you know, you might expand your network there or even apply for opportunities.
If anyone that is studying engineering, there is the Young Engineers.
Young Engineers Australia.
Yeah, Young Engineers Australia. That's a really good thing to be a part of, because every about 3-4 months, whether you're an undergrad or you've already graduated, anyone that's under the age of 35 does get invited to these events. You do have to pay to go to these events, but it is a catered event where you can have a sit down. There's casual ones where it's just, you know, just canopies, a couple of drinks, but everyone gets to socialize. Or they have a full-blown event where it's like a black tie, you pay, you know, as X amount just to have a sit-down dinner. Those things are really good. I went to one as undergrad. It definitely was an eye-opener for me. Sarah, for you as well, that'd be really good, because architecture and engineering kind of like morphs together for those as well. So don't feel shy that just because you're not in the engineering world that you can't be a part of those associations. They are really fun. You get to be invited to like technical reviews and technical presentations, along with the, you know, the whole fun side of it as well. And they do host Christmas in July, Christmas parties as well for everyone across the board to be invited to. And it is a worthwhile event to network and reach out to people in the industry, because a lot of people, recruiters often come as well. I know that a lot of events that I go to that's targeted at, you know, universities or career days, a lot of our HR come along to grab CVs and talk to people as well, and get a bit of insight of like the demographics and what the new age graduates are like.
I'm studying civil engineering, and then I'm international student. So like the question is, how is like the industry for like international students? Like, because I've been applying for a lot of like positions and all that, but then it's like I haven't been able to like succeed or anything like that. So
yeah, so I do know that it is difficult, especially when you're applying for, I guess, the bigger organizations and even government organizations. They do require like a residency, and I do know that is a very hard, like it's out of everyone's control. I understand that. But you know, lots of my friends that I studied at uni were in the same boat as you, and they actually just went for the smaller companies, you know, the tier 2, tier 3 companies. They're more easygoing. I think it's just that we have to do a bit of research on the type of different companies. I feel like when you're at uni, we all talk about the big, you know, all the big fours, all the big organizations, and forget about there's so many little companies as well. And I'm saying little in a sense where there's not 5,000 employees. You know, little companies, we're talking anywhere between 50 to 1,000 people, which is still substantially big. So I would definitely be targeting those kind of companies. When I was an undergraduate, I looked up the yellow pages and I called about 100 different engineering firms, and that didn't work. I ended up calling steel fabrication firms, and I worked as an undergrad to get my hours unpaid for a small little, you know, company that had 6 employees. So I definitely think that don't rule out all the smaller companies, because you will learn a lot of them, and they are very family orientated. So they'll definitely take care of you there as well. So definitely consider looking at the smaller companies.
Thank you.